Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm here with John Weller, the preacher, myself, Todd, the outsider, and Jason Goldberg, the dealer. We are live from Surfaces 2020. What year is it?
2023.
2023. Holy cow. And Jason, you've been, you told me an inside information. This is your 36th Surfaces that you've attended.
Yeah, I've been to every Surfaces. It started in 1987. I was 17. I went to that one and to this one here. I almost missed this one. We were moving into a new facility in Louisville, Kentucky, moving from 3 down to 1, so almost didn't come.
How has Surfaces changed in the last 35 years?
I used to really look forward to going to Surfaces, and if I'm being completely honest, it's just, I don't get all that excited for Surfaces anymore.
I know you feel that way.
Yeah.
And John, I'm curious how many Surfaces you've been to. I think I've only been to, 5 Surfaces? Probably my 5th Surfaces. I missed it last year because of COVID, which really stinks. But I agree with you. There's not the same content and energy. What I've seen from the last 5 years, I can only imagine the last 35. But nothing beats seeing all of these people. The networking side of it, I mean, you had experience with that last night, how you got super excited seeing everyone. And that part still is a ton of value.
Yeah, and so those first 30-some years that I always came to these, I always made sure I stayed at a hotel where no flooring people were at. So I didn't do any networking. It wasn't until last year that I actually stayed on site for the first time and realized how fun it was to be around the other flooring professionals and network with them.
Yeah, that's like 99% of the value. But listen, there's value there. And John, I know when you took me to my first Surfaces, you were telling me you guys never stayed on. I mean, Floor Force was much smaller, right? Or Broadland was much smaller at the time. So you had to stay all types of places all around
All
Vegas.
types of places, very budget-friendly places with very inadequate amenities, absolutely. But I've been coming since 1992, and things have changed. But I would tell you, I'm interesting your feedback on that. And again, I don't understand your perception on it, but mine, it is interesting to hear people, and as have they evolved. If you think about the way Surfaces was when we started going, there was 200 carpet manufacturers here, right? And so every single booth had a different story, and you were seeing people for the first time.
But why is that any different than now? There's 200
No,
vinyl
it's
plank
fair.
manufacturers.
Oh, that's different.
Why is that different?
That's different because vinyl plank's all the same. To be honest with you,
Carpet's not.
I'm sure that's going to offend somebody, but to me, it's all the same. I mean, there's only so many ways you can make oak look like oak or walnut look like walnut, but carpet can be done. The
Do
visuals.
you think you're a carpet snob?
Oh yeah.
Okay, just make sure.
Yeah, I'm a flooring snob. But I think what's interesting about Surfaces today versus the way it was is what people are talking about and what people are doing. And for us, it's exciting, and I think that's the difference. I mean, because finally, for the very first time, every manufacturer, everybody you talk to is talking about digital and how can they do what they need to do to get their digital presence or their digital strategy put together. So to me, it's gotten more exciting every year since I've been coming.
Yeah, it's interesting. This year, I feel like we've been doing this for 5 years, right? This year, I feel like more employees of ours, more than ever, have been coming up to me being like, oh, I was just stopped by this executive or this executive, and oh, this person saw I was wearing my Broadloom sweatshirt, and they said they really wanted to partner, integrate. And I think we've had a lot of amazing conversations with manufacturers on how they want to integrate into our technology to tell their story, but also to help retailers make more money, right? That's what it's all about.
100%. And again, what's interesting is, and you guys, even in the 5 years that you've been coming, I mean, we would, reach out to manufacturers to have a conversation about something digital, right? You guys should really give us your product catalog or whatever it is. Now, as you said, we've been here, show hasn't even started. I've been stopped by at least 10 manufacturers, not only saying, what can we do, but prescribing, hey, we need to do this. We need to get out in front of the consumer. We need to help the retailer. That's refreshing and that's exciting.
Yeah, so this Surfaces is very different, it sounds like, than other ones. But I think over the last few years, we're going to see more attendance because I think there's, 4 shows here? Kitchen and Bath, T.I.S.E,
Some
Furniture Store, yeah, and some other one, not the
Builder.
one.
Builder and Surfaces.
Yeah. But anyway, excited to be at Surfaces. And I know, Jason, we were having a conversation over lunch that you guys are looking to scale to that next level from 190?
We're 190.
190 million, and now you're trying to go to 250 million. It was interesting. You were telling me some of the struggles, like moving software and that type of stuff. and we haven't got a chance to catch up, which is nice being at Surfaces together. It sounds like a lot of the issues you're having are almost similar to the issues you have as a $2 million dealer. It's just 10 times harder.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're the same ones a $2 million dealer would have. I think we all have very similar problems in the fact that the process is very similar, right? We're doing the same thing. We're making a sale. We're then taking it through a process to get it installed and serviced if we need to, and then repeat. And how do you do that most effectively? And as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're in more cities, more stores, more people, when you do it the way that we've done it recently with acquisition, you have people that have been doing it a different way than you've done it. So how do you take different cultures of people, right? When we bought these two companies, the culture there was different than ours. How do you take the way that they operated versus the way you operate? Then you switch softwares.
Yeah.
And you got to rebuild all those processes and procedures to work with the software. The ultimate goal is to have a process that is repeatable to give me that consistent result as we continue to grow. But I wanted the same thing at 2 million. I wanted the same thing at 5 million. The difference is at 2 million, I had 4 employees or 6 employees or 10 employees that I had to train to do it. We have 450 employees right now. And so the challenge of communication becomes ultimately, how do you effectively communicate what needs to happen? How do you train them? How do you have that feedback loop of, all right, we're doing it this way, but we think it can be done better. And then how do we change it? And then how do we make these changes very quickly like we're still a 10-person company?
I think one of the most interesting things that I think about when I see you here, or the fact that like 3 days ago you weren't going to come.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm moving into a building, buying all these businesses. I'm really stressed. I can't. And then you're like, no, I'm coming. You come, you're here, and the whole business is like happening and doing things. And like a lot of retailers have to be in their business for it to happen. You can go to Surfaces last minute while you're acquiring a business, while you're integrating a business, and you don't look super stressed. You look like it's locked and loaded. The plan, people know the plan.
I mean, I got a lot of good people, and we have a plan, and we've been executing. And look, if I go back a year and a half to 2 years ago, with a ton of supply chain disruptions, we had acquired the 2 companies. We were running 4 different operating systems, and it was very stressful. We were operating out of 17 facilities. So in some cities, we had up to 5 warehouses just to run that city. So managing all that, I used to tell the team, I was like, look, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to get down to 1 system. We're going to get into bigger facilities, and we're almost there. So,
But you almost are never fully there. Aren't you always then just like getting tighter and tighter and tighter?
We're still doing things, but these things are really important. Like running on multiple systems is a pain in the and it makes you not as effective as you can be. And when you run out of multiple warehousing facilities in the same city, even if they're right next to each other, it creates all kinds of inefficiencies. So you have different people running different systems. I want them all to run the same way. You can't get it that way till you get them all in the one. So it's been very challenging for me, who is an operator, to have to be able to sit there and watch things not operate effectively. And knowing that I'm kind of tied in the fact that we're just, until I get them moved over, I'm going to have to accept the fact that we're not hitting my expectations.
Yeah, you're not at peak efficiency.
That's right.
And I'm curious to ask John a question about peak efficiency, but I have a hot question for you.
Sure.
Let's just say today, while you're not operating, I turn off RLM.
Okay.
What would happen?
I would strangle you.
Okay. Besides that, who would be next? 'Cause then I'd be dead, and then what?
Well, I mean, I'd pick up the phone and I'd call Dustin and I'd say, fix it.
Okay. I guess, like, for you, though, is it still as important of a... Where I'm going with this is, like, we talk about it a lot with dealers. You were big on do the work and big on RLM as it started. But now you're 3 times the size and the product has grown. Like, how important is it to you now as compared to before? And the only reason I bring this whole thing up is, again, you're away from your office.
Yeah.
It's happening. But I've said this to you all night, you look calm, cool, and collected. And I think a part of that is, are you guys still, like, dominating the usage of RLM, still using it, like, every single minute of every single day?
Yeah, so we have like 20 pipelines. RLM is embedded into the fabric of how we operate. So since I can customize each pipeline, our entire sales process is built in each pipeline, whether it's retail or builder or whatever. And then our entire operational process of how we get it from here to here is also embedded into RLM. So when RLM goes down, it really inhibits our ability, because people, like, we move jobs through RLM. People know what they're doing. So if I can't access it, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. It tells you what you're saying, and then you pass it along. And so it's this web of productivity for us.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And listen, we still have some of those. We're only 180 people, 170 people or something, but we have still a lot of those problems of scaling, and even us as a company, we're different than we were a year ago or 2 years ago. I mean, for you, just to kind of tie this back to Surfaces and why we're here, he's been here for 36 years.
I think this is your 36.
You're what for you?
31.
Damn, I'm 32, so that's pretty awkward. How has Surfaces, when you really think about where you guys were, where we were, I guess, as a company during the first Surfaces you attended versus now, what is that scale been like for you, or what's been
I can't tell you how, like, first of all, proud I am just to have walked up to the booth today, and we actually had one of those round kind of things standing in the middle. Yeah, the thing on top. I've always dreamed about how. Yeah, that was a bucket list thing of having it. Yeah, we started out on a 15-foot table with a tablecloth here, with whatever Surfaces gave you for free as a backdrop, and to evolve to this. And yeah, we would stay a couple miles.
Where would you stay?
Out of here. Excalibur was the nicest place we stayed. The rest of them were like the Gold Nugget.
What year?
Whatever was $39. I think that was the magic number.
What year are we talking?
Well, we started showing up at Surfaces about 13 years ago.
Okay.
So I guess.
So with inflation, it's like $200 now.
No, those places are still $39.
Yeah,
they just got worse.
Well, our booth today has the big "Do the Work." That's like our big campaign for the year, and I want to talk about what that means for retailers, what that means for us. But I'd be remiss not to go back to Jason for a second, because without you, there would be no Do the Work. And people look at you as the dealer. No one understands the marketing genius that you are inside. So, where were you? I'm curious that the story, how Do the Work really got started. Were you what happened? How did it pop into your head?
I don't know the exact time or place. It just happened. Right? I just started saying, look, we just have to do the work. We just have to do the work. And then, hashtags have been big for years and years. So I just threw a hashtag in front of it, and that just became my saying, we're going to do the work. That's what we started doing.
Yeah. And then I think the retailers really caught on, and then we started talking internally on we acquired RLM. Do the Work is this thing that we also believe in, and a lot of retailers say a lot. And I think we landed on after FloorCon, I think there was a message at FloorCon that we didn't land appropriately. I think at FloorCon we really wanted to land we're here to push the industry forward, and I think some of our words got taken away from us. And listen, we're very blunt and honest, but I think our exact message wasn't heard, right? And our real message is we're here to help the retailer succeed, and we're here to help brands tell their stories through the retailers. At the end of the day, we'll do whatever it takes to help the local flooring retailer win, is what we should have just said. And they need great brands to do that, right? So let's say that out loud. But I think from a marketing message campaign, we were going back and forth on a whole bunch of things, from crazy stuff. And then we were honestly, Jason said it best, and every retailer does it. We have to do the work. And we landed on that. I think you had some really good thoughts. But what does do the work, for us, when we came up with that, what does that mean to you?
What's really interesting to me is, ever since starting doing what we're doing 15 years ago, I would meet with retailers who didn't have a website or and they would say, I've got to do something. I've got to do something. And what was really awesome is we started this campaign back at the Southwest market. And as
Do the Work campaign.
Right. And as retailers would show up into the booth, they would be talking about, should I buy a website? Should I use the CRM? Should I use the ERP? And it's almost like they thought in their head, you know what? It's time. I need to do the work. And it was wild to watch, Jason, as people embrace this. Retailers were sitting there going, you know what? It is time I do this. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to buy a website. I'm going to use a CRM. And it was wild how that transferred into this call to action within themselves just by seeing that. So it was an ingenious, as Todd said, it was an ingenious marketing move that
we came up with.
Caught. Yeah.
Here's the problem with Do the Work. The problem that I see that most people have It's kind of like their New Year's resolution, right? I'm going to go work out. So you do the work for a week or two, and you quit doing the work, and then you wonder why you're not getting the result you want. It's more than a slogan, right? Do you have the capacity to actually do the work all the time? Like, there's no break ever. You're always doing it. And the reality is most people can't do it. They can't operate at that level all the time.
Listen, I agree that most retailers aren't willing to do the work every single day, but if you come here, you see our marketing campaign and it forces you to do it one level better, it's a win for us, it's a win for you, it's a win for the industry. And you should have seen at the Atlanta show, everyone that did a demo, we gave them a do the work sticker, put on their badge, and they were so proud to be part of the people that didn't talk about the work, didn't contemplate the work, didn't complain about it. They were there to do the work. They put in the time. They at least were open-minded. So at this show, we have this huge do the work sign. We're handing out do the work shirts, do the work stickers, and we have a giant do the work sign that's like a contract. And we're going to have everyone that has agreed to do the work to put their name on there. And hopefully they commit to doing the work for at least a year. But, it could be a night.
I mean, I think you're right. I think what you said, a lot of people will commit to doing the work like a New Year's resolution. However, not everyone's going to be you, but I've seen it, and I know you've seen it. I mean, since you've been here in 5 years, you've seen it too, where people commit to doing something, right? To get to taking action against what they're trying to achieve. And like Todd said, if they can get one level or two levels better and go from $1 million to $2 million to $3 million, that's game changing for them, their family, and their business. And that, for a lot of people, that's doing the work and getting to a place where they're successful. To get to 200 million, that's a whole other ball game. You keep raising the bar for yourself, and not everyone's going to raise the bar every day the way you do and always say there's another level. But
I think do the work's a mindset. It's like you will do whatever it takes to win. It's not. It's just like it's no any specific thing. It's just be willing to do anything to win and rinse and repeat that always to win is kind of how I think about do the work.
I would say that some people have a very hard time trying to figure out what work needs to even be done, right?
That's fair.
If you can't sit there and evaluate your business and your people and then determine like these are the top objectives, or these are the top priorities, or these are the top goals, and then break those down so that you're effectively doing the work, but you're doing the right work.
Yeah. But you have to be working on your business, not in your business, to even start. That might be the first work thing you do.
Well, I think a lot of people are here, but I think that's why people actually come to a show more like FloorCon to figure out what do I need to do to. You get to talk to people, you get to listen to sessions. I walk through surfaces and I look at product, and I come to the bar at the hotel to talk to people, right, to network. But I think people really are looking for other people to help them understand, okay, I agree, let's do the work, but please help me understand what work I need to do.
How many people and I would agree with you, listen, I think that's why we launched FloorCon, is to give people that. And I say this story a lot. My first services, they asked me to give a talk on Google Ads and Facebook. They put it on Facebook. They were promoting it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And they were like, yeah, I walk in. They're like, yeah, you see that little step stool right there? Stand on the step stool, and we don't have a TV, and give your presentation. And I think that's partially how we look at FloorCon, right? The ability to tell people what they need or should do.
Even a guy like you, right? I mean, here's the thing. I will tell you, like when I was running Floor Force, I never knew what was possible. And Google invited me to a meetup where I met CEOs of other companies, like the CEO of Dealer.com. My mind was completely blown. I had never stepped outside of that business and just looked around at other things to see what was possible. And most dealers don't, like you said, they're here to buy carpet, they want to negotiate, they want to do whatever, but they're not stepping outside that business and hearing from someone to say, what should you focus on to take it to the next level? Not buy it 10 cents better a square yard, right?
Well, that's not going to improve your business.
No, but I mean, that you have to have that place to go and network and know people that can tell you how to step out and look at that business and what you should focus on.
Let me just say something. And just make sure you understand the person you're listening to is giving you good advice. There are plenty of people in this industry spouting their mouth, giving you horrible advice, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy that's doing 200 million, who else is? But I'm just saying.
Here's the interesting thing. I think this is what it comes down to. There's people that you think, try to educate the industry and maybe shouldn't. You think people should listen to people like Jason. But the truth is, Jason held a boot camp, right? We partnered with Jason to do a boot camp last year. what was there, 50, 60 people there. I thought it was a really successful
100
event.
people.
100 people there.
Yeah.
They came, we toured your facility. You gave them, if you want to run a store like mine, this is what you do, which is like the dream scenario. And you said, follow up with me, right? To everyone. How many of those, so you, tell the story.
Okay, so during the boot camp, I explained to them what a GTRS is. And
Which is what?
It's an accountability tool. It helps you set goals and it's an accountability tool. And we use it, everyone fills one out at my company every quarter. So I explained how it worked and, everyone there committed to using it. And so I made an offer. I said, look, if you do it, then you can send it to me and I'll give you feedback on it. And then I followed up with it after the boot camp. I made a post in the Facebook groups about it. And I said, your GTRS is due by this date. I got, of the 100 people in attendance, 2 people sent me their GTRSs. Only one person's actually showed up by the deadline. The other person's was late. I did read both of them. I gave them both feedback. I told both of them, I said, now send me your next one, you get it. I've never seen another one again. So that follows in line of my point that most people get excited. First of all, 2 people out of 100, so 2% actually attempted to do the work, and they did the work for who knows how long, but not long enough. And then you have a guy like me who's willing to give my time to give them feedback and help, and you don't take me up on that offer. You're just hurt. Like,
You were here and you went to the boot camp to do that work. That's why you were there.
Right. Look, if you give someone that I look up to, that I think has very high business acumen, that can help my business, and that person tells me, look, I'm going to give you X amount of my time, I'm going to take them up on that and use that time up completely.
So you're okay if all 100 of those retailers reached out to you? Like every
If they
day?
would have done it, I would have stuck to my word and given them the feedback. But look, I make those offers because I know how the average person acts and thinks, right? I knew that I was only going to get a couple. I didn't really think I'd get any, quite frankly. I didn't think anyone would do it. But two people surprised me. This is what it is,
Yeah.
right? Look, you sometimes look at an industry and you say, where is an industry that I can be real successful? Well, every time, like, there's a lot of corners that I look in and things I do, and I see people not willing to do what's necessary to be really successful. They talk about it. They listen to other people talk about it. They jump in Facebook groups and yap about it. But you notice I don't talk in the Facebook groups anymore because I'm just sick and tired of all the bullshit and nonsense that goes on in there. You get people acting like authorities, and then the people go back and forth about nonsense, right? So it's just, I still read it, but I very, very rarely will throw a comment in because I don't feel like arguing over stuff where, you're just wrong. Like, you're just wrong. I don't know what else to tell you.
If you didn't think Jason was passionate about it, well, now you know Jason's passionate about it. So as part of this GTRS you mentioned, I assume you guys have set goals for 2023. I'm curious what your personal goals are for 2023, the company goals for 2023, and what your general outlook is on 2023. Let's start with the personal.
Well, look, my personal goals, which I've already started, was to get much healthier and in better shape.
Okay.
And I've done.
Are you doing the work?
I am doing the work, and I continue to do the work. I feel good. I've lost weight. My doctor said if I don't, my cholesterol is high. So just things to get healthy at my age.
Okay.
Had shingles, as you guys know.
Yeah, I got healthy. That's good.
So
those are good personal goals.
So my personal goals: get healthy, spend more time with my kids, even though I do spend a good amount of time with them, and just finish getting through this setup that I'm trying to get done at work, which leads me to my business goals. One is to get down to one operating system, which we're almost there. The second was to get every city down to one operating hub, which we've got one left, which is Columbus, which is operating out of 5 facilities, and it'll be down to 1 at the end of the year. So that's the second goal. There's 5 goals that I set for the company for this year, which I typically wouldn't share, but I'll go ahead and share. Number 1 is market share. Number 2, and I'm not going to go into details of what we're doing with market share. Number 2 is margins. Number 3 is effectively running a warehouse. Number 4 is effectively running an installation and service department. And number 5 are expenses.
2 M's, 3 E's, easy enough.
It's pretty easy. if you get 1 through 4 correct, then goal objective number 5 does not come into play.
A lot of that is around margin and expenses. I'm curious, before we hand it over to John to hear his answers, are you managing the company differently this year versus last year, knowing the frothiness versus the economic outlook you're looking at now? Or
yeah,
I assume you're managing it differently. I mean, that was
absolutely. My business is over 60% builder, like single family, residential, new construction. So as you all know, builders are building less houses. Some are down upwards of 60% in some parts of the country, not in where I work, but in some of our regions, we have builders down as much as 30% off their sales. So that business is going to be down with those builders unless we take more market share.
Yep.
So, but we also have retail, we have property management, we have commercial, we have our projects division. So we're anticipating growth in every other division, and builder for us right now is just too unpredictable, right? I highly doubt we'll be up in builder this year.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, if you're not thinking about your business differently this year as compared to last year, I'm not telling you what you have to do, because based on your situation and the money you have and your industry, whatever, look, business generally, if you're not at least thinking about your business differently than you were last year, something is wrong. Like even, right, we're in tech, you're seeing Google laying off people, Facebook laying off people, and that's a whole other conversation. They probably overhired and overpaid dramatically for a lot of people, but if you aren't looking at your business differently, well, we were in the last 3 years, although it was hard with COVID, like money was everywhere. It was you could invest in anything. I mean, well, Dave Portnoy was pulling numbers out of his Scrabble book, investing in things and making tons of money. People were buying flooring everywhere. That has a ripple effect on the whole economy. And now it's just a totally different year. And I know we're operating differently. For you, and I want to ask you the same questions. We'll start with the personal ones. You have any personal goals?
Yeah, personal
goals. You can't
goals.
use get healthy.
Well, that was it.
Dude,
listen. Someone asked in the room. Dan asked why I'm wearing a jacket because I'm not exactly thrilled with my physique right now.
Let's document it at least.
Yeah. So I'm documenting it. I am.
You have to take the jacket off.
No, I'm not taking the jacket off. I will document. No, that's not happening. But I will say here publicly, I am prepared to do the work as soon as Surfaces ends.
Okay.
I've been saying that now for a couple months.
Will you check in with Jason every month?
I
And
will.
Tell him on your progress?
What's
Take
that
a
report I
picture on
need
the
to turn
scale.
in?
Take a picture on the scale.
I'll take a picture on a scale. I'll report to Jason.
How many? Once a month? Once a week?
I need to lose 20 pounds. That's my goal. All right. So I'll report in to Jason. You can let me know. Jason, we'll come back to the next pod. Jason will report. And I won't wear a jacket to the video. Dan.
Okay, that was big. All right. How about for the business and your outlook? What are your big goals for the business?
So listen, we as a company have always had a vision, and in the last few years, since you guys acquired the company, we've acquired a whole bunch of different entities. But it's really exciting to me where we are now. We're in a place where we can finally really connect the manufacturers, the retailers, and the consumer on a platform and start and to your point, this is a hard business. Like a lot of these people scaling a business all the way through, their training a lot of people in this industry came from the installation side, and now they're running a business. So I think one of the cool things that we get to do as a company is take this platform and automate a lot of the things for the manufacturers and the retailers to connect with consumers and help them scale that side of the business where they can focus on the installation side and running their business, which will take a lot of people to the next level just by putting opportunities in front of them. So that for me, and I think this year is a year that I'm going to focus on really working with a lot of the brands that these retailers rely on to grow their business and bringing them into our platform. And working with them and doing partnerships. So for me, that's my goal.
Yeah, I think for me, we've been on the cutting edge of building technology, and I think only recently we've really been able to partner with so many manufacturers and suppliers to help them do things like sample ordering on retailers' websites or visualization or such great content. So it's been really nice to start partnering with manufacturers to tell that brand story.
I want to say something about the outlook for this year. I know that a lot of people that watch this they're just regular flooring retailers. In other words, they're not doing a lot of builder work. I think the outlook for them is pretty good. I personally believe that in 2022, retail from about April on was very soft last year. So you're not, in my opinion, if you did well last year in retail, you should at least do that well, if not better, this year.
Yeah. No, I listen, and the truth is no one knows. Here's the truth: is we can only go off of so much data, but for all we know, we're going to enter into a massive recession. For all we know, it's going to be bright. I mean, like.
Yeah, but let's say this. Listen, we just now started launching some of these partnerships with these manufacturers, and I think you have to admit your surprises. We didn't know what was going to happen. We took some brands that have no footprint or presence online to go after consumers, and within a couple weeks, we had thousands of consumers ordering samples through our platform. That was an eye opener for the brands, for us, for the dealers, and I think we just started that. So what we can do from this point to build off of that, I have a great outlook on.
I have a question for you, for both of you.
Sure.
What do you feel about all of the other companies copying everything you guys are doing?
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's good. Listen, we're not going to sit here like there's a lot of companies that listen. It means it's working, and I appreciate that, and hopefully they'll push us to get better, and we'll push them to get better. But if we think it's working for the industry, please do it. That's okay.
We honestly talk about this.
Yeah.
The more we get copied, the more that products and
well, let's talk about what we've been copied.
Just
Sample ordering, visualization, in-store kiosk, online visualization,
retail
selling system 2.0 plus. Like, come on.
But the thing is, we talk about this all the time. Good question. And to be honest with you, all those things just push us to be better and do better things for the industry. And honestly, that was it. I mean, a lot of what we say out there is a little brash, but at the end of the day, it's because we believe in what we're doing. And you know what? You can see what's happened. You got Deion Sanders talking at events. You got all kinds of things going on.
Yeah.
That never happened before. So I think we have raised the bar, and which raises the bar for us. And together as an industry, everyone's getting better.
And hopefully they raise the bar on us.
Yeah, it's a good compliment for what you're doing, and I think it's very beneficial for the dealers. You know, they're seeing a lot of progress being made in an industry where there wasn't a lot of progress really ever made.
No, I totally agree, and it's exciting. Listen, I think the whole thing's exciting, and as an industry, if we're all looking to get better, that's great.
That's right. Look, and you I know we do come off brash sometimes, especially me. I hope people understand. Look, there's camera us, and then there's real us, right? It's getting a point across because we like to get shit done, right? We like to do the work. So when we see things not happening, whether it's installation related, which gets me fired up, or whether it's digital marketing related.
Let me push back on that for 1 second.
Right.
I think there's only real us. I actually don't think this is camera us at all, but I do think as part of real us, if someone's not listening and you say something over and over again, it's not getting done, you have to say it a different way. Or you have to do something else if you actually want it to get done. It goes back to doing the work. You've said those things a lot, but in order to shake the cage, you had to find a different
we don't have to say it where I'm cutting into people, I guess. I don't need to make.
You don't have to cut into people.
That's right.
Is that an apology?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, and with that, thanks for joining the pod. I'm with John Weller, the preacher. I'm Todd Saunders, the outsider. And this is Jason Goldberg, the dealer. From Surfaces 2023. See you next year.